but TNA delivering on that front this week. TNA Impact from this past Monday night. I almost said Thursday, but indeed no more replay, Dixie, just Monday nights now. But TNA Impact began with a recap of Jeff Jarrett and Mick Foley, their encounter last week, and indeed the declaration that Foley is fired.
Yep, and I don't know what this is going to lead to, really. I'm sure Mick will come back in some capacity and turn the whole Bischoff regime upside down. But Impact thought it was great this week. Absolutely terrific from start to finish. And have to say, great to see our man Jay Lethal back in action.
Finally, after 5 weeks or so doing this, we've pretty much asked for Jay Lethal every week, I think, and not a week goes by where you wonder where he's been. He's now back. He's got a fall guy role, but it's a comedian role, and it's the right place for him. I believe he's now Bischoff's assistant in some fashion.
Yeah, this chick that was on ECW, I can't remember her name.
Miss Teasmaker, I think they're calling her now.
Yeah, it's some take on something to do with Superman or something, is it?
No idea.
Yeah, basically, I read that somewhere. Yeah, she looks pretty cool. I like that. But yeah, I'm big time down with the whole Mega Powers thing and the putting together of the matches with the name dropping. I mean, that's what we want to see, you know, hands down. I want to hear R-Truth, you know, shouting "What's up" when I could be laughing at something like that, you know.
TNA Impact is fast becoming a home for old school wrestling fans. You still have that bit of violence in there, some controversial angles. In fact, it got very controversial and racy and edgy this week. We'll run down pretty much everything that happened, but certainly very happy to see Jay Lethal back on TNA Impact. And indeed, the Macho Man impersonation A-game was brought to the forefront by the man Jay Lethal. Now, that new starting sequence and that new team tune is adding a whole lot as well, certainly exciting me, and a nice change from the old Cross the Line. And I'm also liking the band with Bubba the Love Sponge, and indeed he cut a promo before their match on Impact, and indeed it was quite good.
Yeah, he's out for some serious heat, and they know what their audience is, unlike WWE sometimes, and yeah, he's putting the marks down, and too right for a lot of those Impact Zone ones, because geez, yeah, I'd say it's tough work, but yeah, I mean, I think having Bubba around for the ultimate heel factor and the amount of hate that guy actually has, because apparently he is supposed to be an absolute prick, so I think that's good for them. I think having him around is really good, especially with the band as well, who, controversial as it was to even have Waltman and Hall back in the mix and have all those four guys together with Nash, who's been around the block in so many different kind of gimmicks in TNA, and now back with the originals. So yeah, I like this little angle. I think it's cool.
I really enjoyed it, and certainly they have that kind of rip-off of the old hip-hop entrance tune, The Outsiders in a way, but of course calling themselves the band nowadays. Now, Bubba the Love Sponge cut a promo on Eric Young, and I'd like to think it was a shoot. I know these days in professional wrestling, especially in the bigger shows, it's all worked. They know what's going to happen, but Eric Young didn't look too happy when he came out, and maybe it helped his gimmick to be able to get that heat from Bubba. And Bubba, as a radio shock jock, is bound to get some serious heat. He surely would be able to cut up a promo like nobody. I mean, if you sort of does it on radio every day, then why not in the ring? I mean, it's the perfect place for him.
Yeah, it's a similar situation, and he's had a lot of experience, and his show's quite big over there. So it'll be second nature to him, and I think that's where they can really generate a lot of heat for that guy. And he seems to be doing a really good job of doing it so far too, I think.
Yeah, the band are looking stronger and the band are great. It's nice to have them back. It just makes that old school feeling. And indeed, certainly with TNA, I enjoy to see some of those older stars now that they are finding the balance. Now that they have the Jay Lethal, people we saw on TV years ago, like the British Invasion, indeed Kazarian and etc., etc. Those guys are kind of finding their way back now. It was a difficult beginning for TNA with the Hogan-Bischoff regime. Things were turned a bit on their head, but now it looks like they've found the right mix, I think.
Yeah, they've made some kind of silly choices with taking the Nasty Boys for 90 days and now they're gone again, you know. I mean, that's just a whole... I mean, the amount of TV time that they were given when someone like ODB or Jay Lethal, even Machine Guns were still knocking around but not getting TV time, and just a waste of everybody's time. And you can see it's become a bit of a clusterfuck, I think, and I think that's why some of the ratings are so low, because, you know, it can be messy, but when you take most of the crap away, it's actually a pretty good show, you know.
Yeah, I mean, this week I did hear that the TNA rating was a 0.6, and Dixie Carter on her Facebook saying she's glad Shawn Michaels can only retire once, apparently blaming that Shawn Michaels retirement. It's a valid point, but then we hear the same story every week. It's the same sob story, whether it's from Bischoff, Dixie. I mean, are they going to stop excusing this and maybe address it?
Yeah, they'll have to be, because I mean, apparently that 0.6 was throughout the whole show pretty much. It didn't really, you know, have any huge jump or decrease, and you can't just blame Shawn Michaels' segment for that, you know, because well, maybe the show after Mania is always going to be a huge show, because so many more people go out and watch Mania that don't really watch all year long. They might have fallen out of you know, watching wrestling for a couple of years, but they'll go and they'll pay for WrestleMania, and you know, if they're sitting at home on a Monday night and they can just throw on 2 hours of Raw, they're going to probably watch it just to see the follow-up. I mean, it's always probably one of the bigger Raws of the year anyway, and always delivers. So it's just ridiculous excuses out of TNA, I think.
Of course, Doug Williams teamed up with Brian Kendrick, and indeed they took on the team of, or favourite, Shannon Moore and Kazarian. Now that was an interesting match. After this match, the first thought I had was that I'd like to see Kazarian versus Kendrick on pay-per-view. I think both those guys could deliver a great match, and indeed high up the card as well. How likely do you think that could possibly be?
That would be absolutely great. Yeah, both of them are so good. Kendrick, I have to give props to for his entrance. I just love that side of him where he, you know, it's a really great gimmick. I just something that he does, you know. It's not even a gimmick. It's just him, really, you know. And I think he should be pushed to the moon. He, you know, he's absolutely terrific and funny, and just so funny on the mic that you know, you can't take him seriously, and more so than Anderson. I think he's more entertaining, but he just never gets the TV time, Kendrick, and yeah, I think he needs a serious. It'd be great to see him get a serious push. I'm down with it.
Yeah, you miss him because some weeks he's not on and some weeks he is on, and I hope they find a proper place for him. I love how this week Brian Kendrick and also Jeff Hardy and even RVD, I mean that's his usual gimmick, but they all looked like they did, you know, less than a year or two ago. It's almost like TNA said, we want that gimmick and we want it on our TV show, and indeed Jeff now looking exactly like he did not too long ago.
Yeah, they're taking their familiar, and yeah, Rob doesn't look like he's aged any little bit since we last saw him on WWE, and having them all together. I know they're trying to get Matt to go down there as well, so that would be pretty funny, because you know, he's just lost in the mix-up in WWE, I think, and certainly needs to go on a diet, I think, too. Yeah. But yeah, getting Matt down there, I don't think it's going to do much, really, because Matt Hardy, really, I don't think he was ever really that over. Even version 1.0, Matt Hardy, it was okay, but maybe a good heel Matt Hardy again, maybe, might be good.